On today's episode, Elon Musk's master plan part 3 is on the way. How SpaceX will build a rocket a day and Starlink becomes profitable this year. Let's get going. It's happening. Tesla CEO Elon Musk has announced that his master plan part 3 will be presented at this year's Investor Day on March 1st. The event, which will be held at Tesla's Gigafactory in Texas, is a chance for Elon to show off the successes of the past year and, more importantly, what the company is planning for the future. At the shareholder meeting last August, for example, Musk talked about Tesla's production ramp-up, how they dealt with the many shutdowns due to pandemic restrictions, and the possibility of a new Gigafactory being announced within the next year. This year, however, we're going to be getting a much bigger event. Elon is going to be outlining his next master plan. Since Musk became CEO of Tesla, he has run the company according to these grand strategies that he has traditionally called master plans. Every executive team does this sort of thing. Elon just makes sure he broadcasts it to the public, which has led to a fair amount of goodwill between Tesla and its fans. Master Plan Part 1 was presented way back in the hazy past of 2006. Back then, Elon was trying to just get Tesla's foot in the door of the industry, and so his goals were relatively small scale. Design a cool electric car that enthusiasts will buy, use that money to make a more mainstream vehicle, then use the sales from that to fund the design of a truly affordable electric vehicle, all while setting up a zero-emission power generation system. And he more or less achieved all of those just 10 years later by 2016. The original Roadster sales funded the design and release of the Model S, which went on to help fund the Model 3, while Tesla worked to get their first charging stations up and running. That's when the second master plan, Part 2, was announced. The second plan emphasized expansion of Tesla's vehicle product line, something they have definitely achieved by now, as well as a focus on battery storage, solar roofs, and developing self-driving capability, as well as a system that would allow users to rent out their cars while not using them. Now, this plan hasn't hit all of its major points yet. Self-driving has improved, yes, but it's still struggling with some of the more difficult realities of that task, while the solar roofs are all but on ice until Tesla figures out their more pressing issues. However, Elon is forging ahead, which likely means he believes enough of Part 2 has been completed that he needs to shift focus to achieve the next step in his designs. So, what's Part 3 about? Obviously, we're going to get the whole plan spelled out for us on March 1st, but there's no harm in a bit of speculation in the run-up, and in true Elon fashion, we've already gotten some teasers for what we can expect. Back in March 2022, we got our first hints that Elon was getting ready for his next big play when he tweeted that he was working on Master Plan Part 3. On its own, that definitely isn't enough to make any predictions, but luckily a few months later, more details leaked from a back and forth Elon had with an employee. Elon spoke about how Master Plan Part 3 is all about ramping up to large scale in order to, quote, shift the entire energy infrastructure and transport infrastructure of Earth, which is, well, typical of Elon's pattern of setting huge goals for his companies. To be fair, he's just about landed all his previous goals, so it could be possible that Musk might pull this off. But how could Tesla work towards those goals? Well, we think these past couple of years give us some clues. First up, we have the biggest factor, production ramp-up. Over the last year or so, we've seen an explosion of new activity in Tesla facilities. New manufacturing lines, expansions to gigafactories, new facilities for megapacks in the Tesla Semi, and, of course, the new equipment being brought in to support the Cybertruck's production, which is due to start this year. Next, we have partnerships. Tesla partners Panasonic and CATL, both companies who support Tesla's infrastructure by supplying batteries, broke ground on new facilities of their own. And while those companies have partnerships with more than just Tesla, their investment in new production is signaling that they believe the next decade is going to be seeing a major increase in need for these batteries. And it's more than just companies. All last year, we kept seeing Elon traveling to countries like Indonesia, Canada, and Mexico, meeting with industry and government leaders and forging new relationships. The link? Indonesia and Mexico both have accessible lithium mines and processing facilities, and Indonesia has nickel reserves similar to Canada's. Both of these minerals are integral to battery production, so if Elon wants to expand, he's going to have to get access to these sorts of resources, something he's said over and over again over the last couple of years. Then we have the Megapack, which enjoyed an unexpected surge in popularity over the last year or so as increasingly extreme weather began destroying aging power infrastructure all over the world. Countries began reaching out to try Tesla's energy storage system as a way of stabilizing their power grids, and found that the Megapack wasn't just an efficient way to achieve that, but the virtual power plant systems that sprung up alongside the new battery parks helped users further stabilize the grid with their own power walls. Tesla has so many new orders for these systems that they recently opened up a new facility in Lathrop, California, just to meet demand. Finally, AI. Tesla had a big year for their developments in software and hardware, and it was all shown off in one event, AI Day back in September 2022. Using the Tesla bot and Dojo supercomputers, Tesla presented a lot of work that had been going on in the background until that point. Huge advancements in their storage and computational ability, and simulations that help teach their self-driving software in the safety of Tesla computer labs. So, what we have here is a pattern that I think it's safe to speculate on a bit. Elon wants to expand in order to begin really transitioning the world off of fossil fuels. His language about shifting the entire energy infrastructure of Earth and his history of working to fight climate change makes that pretty clear. Combine that with his ramp-up of production for his cheaper electric vehicles and the Megapack, and we have the basis for Elon working to achieve this goal. Master Plan Part 3 is very probably going to focus on Megapack farms and cheaper Tesla vehicles, making it easier for countries and new car owners to hop off of fossil fuels. It's not out of the question to think that Elon might be working towards country and even continent-spanning virtual power plant systems, which could include Tesla's supercharging stations. And we're definitely going to be hearing more about efficient redesigns of Tesla vehicles, like the Project Highland Model 3, and maybe even get an announcement of a new, more affordable Tesla model. Musk's comments last year included some thought on how this sort of production explosion could be supported. That's where the acquisition of lithium and nickel reserves comes in. All those partnerships Elon has been working on are probably going to translate into Musk's new master plan, including expanding facilities to mine and refine these raw minerals into the batteries Tesla needs to change the world. We could see Tesla-owned processing facilities in this master plan. To go along with that, it's likely we're going to see an announcement of a new gigafactory. There's a lot of evidence for a new Tesla facility in Canada and Mexico, but which one could get a gigafactory is anyone's guess at this moment. It might be that both countries get a new Tesla facility of some sort, so it's probably safe to assume we'll hear about a new gigafactory, if not in the master plan announcement, then maybe within the year. Finally, Elon's work on AI. A lot of attention has been on the other aspects of Tesla's expansion, but AI Day changed that. The Dojo supercomputer alone represents such a huge leap forward for Tesla's capabilities. It's hard to think that these advancements in AI won't be at least mentioned in the Master Plan Part 3. Elon's dream of completely self-driving vehicles will probably be carried over from Part 2, but the implications of Dojo and Tesla's other AI work are far-ranging. Elon has made it his mission to become integral to the industries he's operating in. Recent trips to meet government officials in Mexico, Canada, Indonesia, and the US point to how important his businesses are. He's even due to join the World Government Summit in Dubai this year. The administrator of NASA recently said that SpaceX is an integral part of their plans for the future expansion in space. This guy is everywhere. Given how quickly his companies have become indispensable, Elon probably has a good shot at using that influence to finally start pulling us off of fossil fuels with his new master plan. But as always, we'll have to wait until March 1st to get the full details from the man himself. So, Stay tuned. Not to be left out of all the excitement about Tesla's upcoming Master Plan Part 3 announcement, Elon Musk's rocket company SpaceX hit another huge milestone last week, completing a crucial 31-engine static fire test, while company president Gwynne Shotwell spoke about the behind-the-scenes work SpaceX staff have been focusing on for the last year. Shotwell spoke at the FAA's annual Commercial Space Transportation Conference in Washington, D.C. on February 8th, the day before the big static fire test. Gwynne spoke about their goals for the first flight test of the company's Starship prototype and about how she's not concerned about getting the rocket to space. "We know how to get to orbit," she said, but it was her comments on what SpaceX is focusing on that were the most interesting. Apparently, the company hasn't been overly concerned about if Starship could fly, not just because SpaceX has gotten very good at getting vehicles into orbit, but because the real goal of the company has been in sharpening up the production side of things. Shotwell says, "Why can't we build a rocket every day? That's what we're focusing on with Starship, is attacking every part of the production process to be able to build lots of these machines." And for any of us who have been following the progress of Elon Musk's companies, this definitely makes sense. Tesla's goals have always been to help move people away from fossil fuels by making affordable electric vehicles, green power generation, and storage. This has been achievable only because Musk has made a big focus on the production side, working constantly on the efficiency of the production pipeline from raw materials to automated manufacturing. So, if SpaceX is working towards a sustainable and affordable future for the space industry, it stands to reason that they would be working on the thing that causes the most expense in rocketry, constructing the rockets themselves. Suddenly, all of those new Starship test vehicles we've seen make sense. Starship 24 is the most likely candidate for the first test flight, whenever that gets the FAA approval to happen. But shots from the Starbase production facilities in Boca Chica have seen glimpses of Starship vehicles in production and testing from Ship 25 all the way up to Ship 28. SpaceX needs a bunch of test vehicles for tuning the final designs, but if they didn't also need to refine their production techniques, they likely wouldn't have built so many. Gwynne went on to mention that currently Falcon 9 and the Dragon capsule is what's making SpaceX their money. Contracts are coming in regularly because those vehicles have proven reliability and an amazingly quick turnaround. That, plus the reusability of the boosters, makes them very cheap by rocketry standards, and everything SpaceX wants to achieve inside the next decade hinges on the success of Starship. The Artemis missions, the Polaris program, Starlink's new V2 satellite deployments, all of that and more will sink or swim with the world's most powerful rocket and its ability to exceed Falcon 9's operational speed. Focusing on the company's ability to produce new vehicles as quickly as possible is exactly what they should be doing. As part of her talk during the FAA's Commercial Space Transportation Conference on February 8th, COO and president of SpaceX Gwynne Shotwell spoke briefly about the company's profitability, beginning with a brief mention of the company's focus on the production side of their rockets, specifically their prototype Starship vehicle. Shotwell made the point that Starship needs to launch hundreds of flights before people can ride along safely, which means Starship likely won't be profitable for some time. That's mostly what Falcon 9 and the Dragon capsule are for. Gwynne noted that the two vehicles are the current workhorses of the company and are the things making money for SpaceX. Aside from their many contracts for things like satellite deployments and rideshare, the company also raised $750 million in its most recent round of funding, mostly on the confidence of Falcon 9's incredible reliability and mission turnaround times. But that's not the only thing SpaceX has going for it. As a final bit of the conversation, Shotwell mentioned that Starlink, SpaceX's satellite internet network, will begin making money this year. SpaceX has launched over 3,500 satellites to date and has been launching them since 2019. Over the course of 2022, Starlink has seen its user count grow very quickly, and new partners in the cruise line industry have pumped enough money into the program that Shotwell says enabled Starlink to have its first cash flow positive quarter in 2022. Given that SpaceX was given approval by the FCC to launch another 7,500 next-generation Starlink V2 satellites, the growth of SpaceX's broadband service will likely keep the cash flow going and support other company endeavors. Currently, it looks like Starlink's V2 satellites require the still in testing Starship for deployment, but CEO Elon Musk has predicted the first test flight of the Super Heavy system will be in March, and if all goes well, we could see some test deployments by year's end. SpaceX might also figure out some way to launch the V2s if Starship runs into some snags in the testing process, but for now, it's a very good sign that the company has started being profitable in another way. It's going to be a big year for all of Elon's companies, it seems. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up today if you liked it. That is so important for getting our content out to more people. If you enjoy the content, then you'd probably also enjoy our weekly newsletter, so sign up with the link down below at theteslaspace.com. A huge thank you to all of our Patreon supporters who are listed on the screen now. You help us make the best content we can, and we really appreciate it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.